Horace。Hello。Hello。Hello。Do we have to change channel 啊？
我哋一開始咧，當然啦，又歡迎大家啦，翻嚟LiveStyle 啦。話咗我哋逢星期三都要抱住疲倦嘅身軀，翻咗一日工，都要喺呢一度減一減壓㗎嘛，咁啊可以逃避一下啲仔女啊。所以今晚又喺呢一度啦，就同 Horace 一齊咧。但係今晚咧，再另一位嘉賓，呢位嘉賓特別喎 ，Horace， 你實識咗好耐啦。
係啦，我識咗好耐嘅。佢咧就係我好朋友。佢係我識佢嗰時係一個公主嚟嘅 ，She was a princess.
She's still a princess.
She's still a princess. Yeah. 佢就喺佢幫我哋唱歌啦，一個唱歌好好聽嘅歌手啦。
係。
多謝。You understand? Oh, okay, good. Okay, and then 佢就有拍戲啦，拍戲佢就攞咗。
唔係，唔應該咁講，佢有拍戲，佢拍咗嗰套戲。
佢拍咗嗰套戲啦。
一套戲
就攞最佳新演員。
我差啲啦，我啲屎倍啲，好似300幾萬嘅投資就翻嚟1900幾萬。
Okay, you understand?
No.
We're talking about money. Okay.
你講好快。
Like 3 million of investment, and turned out the box office was close to 20 million.
Yes.
That was a miracle. It's a dream to a lot of people. It's a miracle.
咁啊，呢個就係佢嗰時話俾我聽，佢 cast 一套戲就叫做。淪落人就係同黃秋生啦，咁就呢位朋友啦，咁佢就扮黃秋生嘅家傭。
係啦，我哋陣間會講到嘅。
係啦，
但係你同佢認識就應該係音樂上高。
音樂上嘅係啦，
係啦，
係應該冇乜人知佢唱歌原來咁好聽嘅。
所以今晚咧，喺 LiveStyle 你聽住嘅話咧，有福啦，因為今晚一個星期三晚翻咗工啱啱 in the middle of the week。You need something. Yeah, you need to massage your ears in a way. So Crisel is going to do the job tonight.
Yeah. And then she's also an educator.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we will get into this tonight.
Later.
Actually,
Okay,
1
but yeah.
hour. It's a little bit too short, but we have a lot to ask you. That's why I didn't even talk to you beforehand.
Yes.
I have a lot of questions to ask you. 熱烈掌聲啦！我哋自己兩個俾啦，因為繼續都係呢一個 live
網上邊大家俾啲
都係我哋自己3個人喺度啦。
係
有你太太喺度嘅。
係 Maria 咧。
係啦，就4個人嚇，我哋咁樣嘅 Big Four. Thank
you,
Crisel. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
So, before you've known Horace for
a long time. I think 10 years?
10 years.
10 years. How sad, huh? This guy, yeah.
We're friends still because of Maria. Just kidding.
How did you get to know Horace in the first place? 一開始點樣識 Horace 嘅咧？
Well, in a way, Horace is a bit of my boss, right? Every time I do events.
Oh, so you do events first? 即係喺
for Me Too Productions.
Yep.
The best.
即係喺任何嘅 weddings。即係或者商業嘅演出 events, and then you will be the singer.
Yes. Because I really trust them because they have the best musicians and they choose really good events.
Of course, that's why we choose you. Yeah. That's why we have Crisel a lot of time. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy being in their events because I really know that it's also great for the singer to enjoy the wedding actually.
I used to see you every day almost.
Usually like October
in a normal year.
Oh yeah, in a normal year, October, November, December, I see you guys 4 times a week.
Yeah. Really?
So, yeah.
But why Hong Kong? In the very first place, I know that you did your university, your bachelor degree in Philippines.
I did my first bachelor's and my first master's.
And your master as well.
I did it in political science, and I actually thought that I would be staying in the Philippines.
In Philippines?
Yeah.
Political science, that's not a very...
It's a very specific.
Exactly.
It's a very specific...
It was my first choice during my time, but I gave up.
Well, you give up after you read this much every evening. No, I stayed on. I enjoyed it. I wanted to be in development work. But I grew up doing theater, musical theater. Professional musical theater.
In Philippines at that
time. I started with Repertory Philippines when I was 10. And
10?
Yeah, in a nutshell, I stayed, I was doing a lot of shows for 13 years. And then I was thinking, okay, I've finished my studies. I should get into what I should get into a field that I studied for. But then, right around that time, I got a call from Disney. And I was on file because, as a performer, you always randomly go to these auditions and you're kept on file. and they said we have a role that could fit you, and it's only for 8 months. So I said, why not?
Only for 8 months. Okay.
Only for 8 months. It's already 13 years, guys.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Are you a permanent resident in Hong Kong?
Yes,
okay.
and I love it here.
But-
like I've built a whole life here.
So
I met my
because of
husband
Disney-
here. I met
So because of Disney,
Yeah.
you moved over to Hong Kong.
Yep, for 8 months.
And
supposed to
so
be.
what were you doing in Disney? What role?
Okay, the
were
first
you-
role.
Can you tell?
Yeah,
You're another Mickey Mouse, right?
She's definitely part of the magic.
Yeah,
you know, but which part of that magic?
They flew me in because
Because my kids are watching.
Oh really?
I gotta keep the magic.
How old are your children?
7 and 5.
Oh,
So-
well, they weren't born yet when Disney had Hong Kong Disneyland had High School Musical. So you can imagine I was this 23-year-old pretending, I had like this high ponytail, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna pop, 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 pop to the top, teeny bopper. And then at the same time I was doing, I was singing, when Tarzan comes out, there's a song, oh, the power to be strong. I used to do that. And then eventually I really dreamed of doing the role of Bibi.
Bibi.
The one
BB
who
as in
plays
Golden Mickey.
Yeah, the one who plays the reporter.
Oh, I
The one
see.
the one who says, hello, 大家好. 你睇米奇咁像音樂嘅.
Yeah,
Hello,
it's not
hello,
playing
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah,
they
not
changed the
anymore,
show,
not anymore.
yeah.
They changed it, but the one that goes, 我係 BB，呢度就係佢細知名嘅故事劇場.
Okay.
That one. So
Ah,
yeah,
with a kid's accent, I like it.
yeah. I really enjoyed my years in Disney. I did 3 contracts with Disney.
So now here is a challenge, a Disney song. Do you know all the songs or?
A lot actually, because every time I sing for the weddings, I only sing those songs.
What about this one?
Okay, let me.
You don't sing this song in a wedding, but
Not in a wedding, but here we go. Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything? Look at this trove, treasures untold. How many wonders can one cavern hold? Looking around here, you think, sure, she's got everything. I've got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. I've got who's its and what's its galore. You want a thingamabobs? I've got plenty. But who cares? No big deal. I want more. I wanna be where the people are. I wanna see 'em dancing, walking around on those, what do you call them? Oh, feet. Flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping, dancing, strolling along down the, what's that word again? Street. Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free. Wish I could be part of that world. What would I give if I could live out of these waters? What would I pay to spend a day warm on the sand? Betcha on land they'd understand that they don't reprimand their daughters. Bright young women, sick of swimming, ready to stand and ready to know what the people know. Asking my questions and get some answers. What's a fire and why does it, what's the word? Burn. When's it my turn? Wouldn't I love to explore that shore up above?
試咗啦，一個簡單嘅測試，真係 it's a real
She's coming
princess
from
right here.
Yeah,
And just-
from Disney.
yeah, and we didn't rehearse. We just pick any of the song, one of my daughter's favorite.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It's,
well-
it's like a whole generation, I think, now
Yeah.
really likes these songs. It's
Especially-
great that there's a revival.
But then that's a big change. Now from Disney, being Ariel, being your favorite character, the magic. But then there's another magic that came to your life. From moving from Disney all the way to this movie called, is it Human Again? 淪落人.
Still human.
It's still human. Human again. Still human. Yeah.
差唔多啦。
差唔多啦。淪落人. This movie, I watched it on the plane actually. This is the very last movie that I actually watched on the plane, my last plane ride.
Before
I
COVID.
cried like a baby. I was crying. Oh, it was so touching. And my two daughters were next to me sleeping, like Tetris. I put them, I arranged them that way. And I was just fine with my daughters without my wife. But that movie touched me completely. How did it start with that movie?
Actually, I had not done film prior. I was used to doing stage, and I actually had my apprehensions. The long story is that there was a Facebook post.
Yeah, I want to say.
And and I was like,
Because of Facebook, yeah.
and then people kept sending it to me, and I was like, oh no, I don't think I can do that. I'm like, and then you think, right? After how many years of not performing really like as a full-time job, I would think like, oh, why am I gonna try to do something different? I'm already busy somewhere else. And it's like, why, honestly, like I even laughed. I said, why would I try something new and maybe make a fool of myself at 30 something?
What were you busying at that time though?
I have my own creative arts learning center.
Okay.
So
apart from
it's
that,
So as an entrepreneur, I've been really full on for the past 5.5 years. It's a lot of it's a big commitment and it's a lot of work, and taking some time off is a challenge. I mean, you really have to make sure that the time you take away from your work brings value somewhere else in your life, right? And I remember saying like, oh, I don't think it's something that I would pursue personally. It wasn't part of the plan. But people kept sending me the post, and I said, why not? I'll go there. And actually, it was more out of curiosity. Yeah, because the story of migrant workers is very, very close to my heart. You can imagine me from university up until my master's. I wanted to do development work, and I wanted to support the community, and coming to Hong Kong, I did have that unique opportunity to get to know these women on a very, very personal level. I used to, and I still do, I do a lot of volunteer work, but particularly during that time with an organization called Enrich. They're still very active now, and they're really, really a good institution, a good organization, a nonprofit that helps migrant workers take hold of their financial planning, giving them also empowerment workshops, helping them plan for the long term. And I came in during that time when I was in Disney. I was volunteering my weekends to support activities of the community. And it was a very humbling experience for me, because I realized that whatever I had studied in university or growing up, whatever I had thought about these women, I could, I was there in many ways. I was still so wrong. Like these women were very empowered. These women were intelligent, were very capable, were very strong. Sometimes, most of the time, they didn't get the opportunities commensurate to their talent, and I thought, but still, I really admired what they did and what they continue to do. So their story is very, very special to me, and I remember coming to the
Not
audition.
just special to you, it's very special to everybody.
Yes, I think so.
Especially
I think
here, to all of us.
I'm glad, in the 13 years that I've been in Hong Kong, I think a lot of the social awareness has evolved you know.
Finally,
yeah,
a little bit getting
A
getting a
little-
little bit advanced.
yeah, it took a while, and
Yeah,
it's in
it
some
did.
areas it's still slow and backward, as I'll probably share with you later on with my own experiences. But I think on the whole, I think the narrative has changed, and I think when director Oliver Chan Soo-kun came up with this project, it really came from a good place, and she did her research. She knows a lot of the stories of these women, much more than some Filipinos do, right? And I remember coming to the audition, and we ended up just chatting, and I thought to myself, you know, I think she's onto something good, and she has a good motivation for it. Even if she doesn't pick me as the actress, I want to help. I want to help lend my voice into the process and see how I can support. And but she picked me, and I said, "Are you sure?" Really, I'm like, I don't know how to do
It went
this.
through a lot of auditions and casting, right? Yeah.
And yeah, she said, "Oh, you know," and I said, "But I don't really feel like doing."
And you don't
doing
speak
something
Chinese
new."
at all.
少少啦，
少少, very little. Just the introduction from
How do you say
Disney.
that? Tang Meng.
聽講唔識講識聽，
Sick tang.
識聽唔識講。
Yeah, but
Sick sick.
yeah, but.
How about now? Much better, right?
Huh? A little bit hody. I don't know. Oh no. 需要多啲練習。係啊。
But that's why it's a very brave decision. You don't
It was
speak the
scary
language,
because, I mean,
and you're doing a movie.
And also, like, it's something like, you know, why would you venture out of your comfort zone? It's like, oh, you venture out of your comfort zone and you're like a teenager or you're in your early 20s. You don't really do that in your 30s, or at least that's what I thought. And I said, you know, I might make a fool of myself. But I said, no, I want to do something good. And at that time, I was thinking, I didn't expect that it would become big. I was thinking, you know what? If this film goes, let's say, to universities, to schools, and it becomes the object of dialogue, and it becomes if it will spark some
change
dialogue
lives,
and
you know
debate.
that.
I said, I would love to be there to speak on behalf of women that I admire and appreciate. And because they've told me their stories. So I feel like I've collected those stories for more than a decade. And one of my push factors was thinking, okay, if I don't do this, right, and somebody else does it, would they really appreciate the story? Would it just be an acting job, or would it be an advocacy? And I felt like, for me, the answer was clear. It's an advocacy. And I think as an actor, as a performer, as a singer, as an artist, we need to choose projects that matter. Otherwise, we're just gonna be.
We're just entertainers.
Yeah, we're we're doing it for vanity, right?
Oh, yeah.
But you know what I mean. And of course, you know, there's a part of us that loves to perform, but after a while, you have to ask, what are you performing, and for what? What difference does it make, and does it add value to people's lives? And are you happy? Are you happy to be represented by the work that you do? So.
Okay.
I talk a lot.
No.
You shouldn't ask me questions.
It's good. You probably did a lot of all those interviews before, but I can finally do this with you. And also because I have invited my I call her my sister. She's part of my family. Her name is Jocelyn, and I asked her to send this YouTube link to all your friends.
Oh yes, please do.
Yeah, send it all, and then
Salamat.
so that you know that because you have. That's a lot of courage, actually, just to take up that job, that project. And now I realize that actually there was so much thinking beforehand.
Yeah.
Whether I should do it, what it is.
Yes, there was at that time. I didn't think it would become. I didn't know. Of course, I'm sure the production. I'm sure.
It will be good.
Director
Yeah.
and director.
But she's new too.
Chan Soo-kun. I'm sure that she was going to make a great job, and I'm sure that she was onto something good. But you know, I didn't expect that. That there would be so much attention on it, and I think it helped spark some dialogue, and I'm very happy about that.
啱啱講緊咧就係 Crisel 就係《淪落人》裏面嗰套電影裏面啦，即係演繹呢一個就係同阿黃秋生嘅呢一套電影。啱啱就講起話，原來係係想決定接拍呢套電影，原來個過程都唔簡單嘅，亦有好多嘢。After the movie, the reaction, and there were a lot of awards first of all, and it was totally unexpected. But how did it change anything? First of all, your perspective, your values, or what do you think of it? You just share with us beforehand, you know, the feelings before. What about after?
Nothing much changed, to be honest. I think just a few more Instagram followers.
Really?
which I don't curate. If you look at my Instagram, I've only recently tried to make it look decent.
But did you get more engagement from movie directors or producers actually inviting you to?
That's an interesting question, actually. I think that was the thing that probably I struggled with. You put yourself in my shoes. For the past at least 6 to 8 years, I've been in a very very tight community of very internationally minded people, and I think I was shielded a bit from the harsh reality that prejudice and racial stereotyping are still prevalent in Hong Kong. And this is a little anecdote, okay? My life as an educator and an entrepreneur in that community, I think in a way it's a bit distinct, and it's very separate from this new project, this new industry, this new world that I've dipped in. Like the day after the awards, I remember I was teaching. Obviously, after the awards, we were like up until 3 or 4 a.m. Obviously, of course, you have to celebrate. There's an after party, and I remember being in their center by 9 a.m. the next day because I had to teach a class for children, and I was so sleepy and tired. And I remember this parent came up and said, and at that time we had opened a new center. And she came up to me and said, "Oh my gosh, congratulations!" And I was like, "Oh, thank you so much," you know, smiling. And she's like, "This is amazing." I said, "Yeah, it is." And she's like, "It's amazing that you put this center up." And I'm like, "Oh, she wasn't watching the awards." I'm like, "Oh yeah, of course that too." And so yeah, a lot of people don't even. A lot of people from this side don't know I do this. A lot of people from this side, this area, don't know that I do the other. And so it's like I feel like I have dual lives. But I think coming from this perspective, where it's a very, very open-minded and very international community, suddenly going back into a very mainstream area. Suddenly, I wasn't Crisel, the professional who spent years as an educator. I wasn't Crisel, the entrepreneur who spent a lot of years building up a credible brand.
But
Suddenly,
the biggest bubble,
yes,
celebrity.
Yes, no. It was like, oh, that's the lady who played the helper. I wonder if she's a helper in real life, which is not. Which for me, like, I'm proud of the women who work in the household services industry. But then you can't also think that, you know, you see me on screen, I'm an actor. You know what I mean? Like after the screenings, people would approach me and say, "How long have you been a helper?" And for me, I don't mind that people think I don't mind that people think that, because it's an honorable profession, right? But what bothers me is the fact that just because some people stereotype everybody in the same bubble, and granting that, you know, maybe you have a household services worker, you know, maybe you have a migrant worker who is working as a helper, but she was a teacher in the Philippines, you know. Or she was a nurse in the Philippines, and if she's not a nurse, or she wasn't a nurse, she wasn't a teacher, maybe if other opportunities had opened up for her, she could be. If this were another place, maybe she would have that mobility. Maybe she can retrain as a teacher. You know, I think that narrow-mindedness was a little. That narrow-mindedness bothered me. It's like, you saw me in the movie. Why can't you think of a Filipina as anything else?
Anything else?
Yeah, and I think the repercussions of that is that even when they just speak to me, there's a difference in the way some people deal with you. you know, some people's perceptions will kind of dictate and drive how they deal with you. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
I said this in a recent interview. I still get I get comments
Actually, that's
like
a kind of discrimination.
yeah, I get comments like, oh, you speak good English, you know, and I'm like, should I not? And actually, it's better to say you speak not good English. What is good English? Anyway, you know, and the like, or people saying like, oh, you look so different from the film. And I'm like, yeah, in the film I was this divorced woman who was struggling and who went to a different country, who they made me look more tired because
yeah,
of, you know,
sad,
depressed.
Yeah.
Of course, if I go to a party, I'm not gonna put on that kind of makeup, and the like. I think I think it's a very subtle prejudice that people don't realize.
Don't worry. Actually, in Hong Kong, a lot of people are doing different things. For example, I just set up this app. It's called VoiceOut.
Okay.
It's actually for people who got discriminated in
Okay.
Hong Kong. Then just VoiceOut here is an app that you can actually type out your case, and we keep it private.
Oh.
And then we will find lawyers. We'll find ways to
Oh.